Rachel Cohen, who runs Paratransit at the MTA, the Chief Accessibility Officer, the one and only Quimel Arroyo, and we're also joined by Congressman Dan Goldman, who represents this district and who has been an amazing supporter of all things transit, but especially all of our accessibility efforts. So thank you for being here and for all you do. Today we're celebrating the opening, seems like a small thing, but it's a big thing for our friends in the accessibility advocacy world. We're celebrating the opening of a new paratransit assessment center around the corner here at 3 Stone Street. This is where customers who want to take advantage of our amazing paratransit Access-a-Ride service, this is the service that allows people with mobility issues to actually get for-hire vehicles or to ride on Access-a-Ride vans rather than having to use buses and subways, although we're pushing forward on accessibility. That's a super important operation because every day people are experiencing aging and injuries and mobility issues, and they need to be able to take advantage of this service. This couldn't come at a better time because Paratransit in New York, which as I say includes Access-a-Ride and for-hire vehicles, is way, way up. Yesterday, newsflash, we had more people than ever before sign up to get a ride on Paratransit. More than 40,000 people reserved a ride on Paratransit, and that doesn't even include the many more who will use the e-hail system to organize a ride on the day of. That is more transit riders than many, many major cities in the United States have for their entire bus, subway, or whatever system. Rachel, thank you for what you're doing. Nowhere else in the country is mass transit exceeding the levels of ridership that it had before COVID. MTA Paratransit is, and it's not happening by accident. Customers are coming back because service is so good. We have 78% customer satisfaction. That has never been achieved before on mass transit. We all know New Yorkers, they don't give you a thumbs up for nothing. And the paratransit community is telling us that they are. Why? On-time performance is more than 90%, and because it has been so good, again, under the leadership of this great team, we've actually shrunk the window. Congressman, the federal rules allow us to measure on-time performance by 30 minutes. We now have shrunk that window to 20 minutes. We're measuring ourselves by a tougher standard. And as I said, we're not perfect, by no means. We got a long way to go, but we are getting better, and we've gotten much, much better. We are committed to full accessibility. This is a personal passion. The MTA is building elevators and otherwise making the subway system accessible 5 times as fast as it did in prior eras. We're going to keep going, not just today, but when the legislature and the governor pass a new MTA capital program, we're going to keep upgrading the pace of that accessibility operation. So I'm thrilled to watch the accessibility operation grow and prosper. Just one aspect of our system-wide accessibility initiative. And I just want to thank everybody who's participated in this. We're going to hear from Rachel and Q, and then we're going to hear from the guy who controls the money and so much else, the congressman. Rachel.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chair Lieber. My name is Rachel Cohen, and I'm the Acting Vice President for Access-a-Ride Paratransit. I'm really proud to be here this afternoon as we celebrate the opening of this new assessment center just around the corner at 3 Stone Street. We're in the middle of what I like to call a paratransit renaissance. As Chair Lieber noted, our ridership is exceeding pre-COVID levels, and our customers are telling us why. Our performance and our customer satisfaction are both at record highs. And it's particularly encouraging to see paratransit ridership rising in parallel to that bus and subway ridership at the same time. You know, many of our paratransit customers use the bus and the subway too. Some of them may have done that to get here today. And the MTA is committed to accessibility across all of our modes of service and to integrating paratransit fully into that vision. We know we can always make things better for our riders, and we're always working to improve service. But I'm really fortunate to lead this team at a time when we have such a strong foundation to build on, and at a moment when MTA leadership has never been more committed to accessibility. Opening this new center demonstrates that commitment. For the thousands of paratransit applicants and recertifying customers who live or work or travel through Manhattan, we heard you, and we're providing this option now here in this borough right around the corner. My team at Paratransit is committed to managing this program to deliver the best possible customer experience while also ensuring we can continue providing the service to all who need it and meet our zero denial mandate under the ADA. That includes having an assessment process that is fair, that is transparent, and that is accessible to our customers. This is just the latest in the series of investments to continuously improve paratransit. We're putting new vehicles on the road, like the van you see behind you here today. We're growing our broker program with those taxi and for-hire vehicles, which provides largely direct rides for our customers. And we're providing customers with new digital tools and options to book and track their trips. And to talk a little bit more about that, I'm pleased to turn things over to my colleague and my friend, Camilo Arroyo.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Rachel, to you and your team for all the great work that you're doing in Paratransit. Today's Paratransit and Access Ride operation is about options, giving New Yorkers the options to move around 24/7 to enjoy all that the city has to offer. And I know firsthand as a Paratransit customer who gets to work, as a Paratransit customer who leaves work to enjoy all that the city has, to get back to Harlem, using all the options that New York City Transit is offering all New Yorkers. As Chairman Lieber said earlier, we are investing like never before to ensure that no New Yorker gets left behind. And that includes our New Yorkers with disabilities, so that we too can move around, go to school, go to work, then go to a bar at the end of a long day with our friend Twan. And this is beautiful. This is great for New York City. This is great for the MTA, because what we're telling here is that New Yorkers belong and that we want you to move around independently. Between the My Access Ride platform apps that Rachel alluded to, we are now booking over 30% of all trips on an application. We've reduced dramatically the call lengths so that people don't have to call to make sure that their ride is coming, that they have to book on the phone. They can do this seamlessly, and we are so proud of that work that we're doing here. I'd like to say a couple of words in Spanish for our viewers at home. Hoy es un gran día. Estamos abriendo aquí un nuevo centro de acceso para que todos los neoyorquinos tengan el acceso en sus comunidades. Este será nuestro primer centro aquí en Manhattan, que le va a dar alivio a los otros centros en los otros condados para que no tengan que esperar tan largo tiempo. Para mí es un gran placer y un honor estar aquí con el Chairman Jan Lieber y con Rachel, del gran trabajo que estamos haciendo para mover Nueva York. Y este nuevo equipo de liderazgo no deja a ningún neoyorquino atrás, para que todos tengamos la dignidad y acceso al transporte para poder valorar y disfrutar de todo lo que la ciudad tiene que ofrecer, para que podamos ir a escuelas, a trabajar y movernos, vernos nuestras familias y nuestros queridos. Estamos celebrando que no dejamos atrás, ningún neoyorquino se queda atrás, y hoy es un día de celebrar opciones de usar el tránsito, el tren como yo uso diario, los autobuses de paratránsito y la movilidad que es universal. Es un placer estar aquí con ustedes, y ahora lo dejo con el congresista. I'll turn it over to our congressman.
Thank you very much, Kumail, and thank you for all the work that you are doing to make the MTA public transit so accessible to everybody. Rachel, thank you, and of course to my friend and the chairman, John Lieber, who's doing such a fabulous job under trying circumstances of making sure that our public transit system is continuing to run on time and service everyone. This is a very exciting announcement today, because the first step in being able to use Access-a-Ride and Paratransit is to have an evaluation. And now with this opening of the Manhattan office, all 5 boroughs will have an evaluation center. And that obviously is essential, especially for those who are seeking paratransit mobility and who have accessibility issues. So to cut down on that time makes it so much more accessible, and it already is incredibly accessible. I have to say, I'm shocked to hear 40,000 people. That's a remarkable number, and certainly when you think about what the total ridership is for public transit and large cities across the country. This is an exciting day and an exciting component, I think, of what we are trying to do together at every level of government. We are working together on the Brooklyn side and Queens on the IBX, which just received a $15 million federal grant to the MTA to move that process forward, and it is moving forward, and we are going to continue to push that forward. We've also recently, about a year ago, a little over a year ago, helped to get a $2 million grant for accessibility from the federal government. And this is something that we're all committed to on every level of government, and we're very lucky to have this leadership team here with the MTA that is thinking about public transit from every single angle and every single vantage point. And today we're celebrating a new step in the Access-a-Ride and Paratransit area, and we will continue to push and celebrate more innovations, especially when we get congestion pricing back and implemented. So I want to thank all of you with the MTA for continuing to work so hard and diligently on this and opening this evaluation center. And we will make sure that everyone, no matter their background or their accessibility, affordability, can access public transportation in New York City. It is now my honor to introduce one of our great accessibility advocates, Rosalia Watkins.
Hello, everyone. I can get there. Just give me a second.
Man, I need one of this.
No, you don't.
I like it. Fair enough.
I want you to be able to
Yes.
direct them.
Thank you
Cameras
so
to be able
much.
to-
Hello, everyone. My name is Rosalia Watkins. I'm chairperson of the Passenger Advisory Council for Access-a-Ride. It's interesting. Everybody says this is a wonderful step. For those particularly that cannot take steps, it's a wonderful opportunity. It's an opportunity to join the rest of New Yorkers in participating in the activities of our city. We have medical transportation, but having the opportunity to work, to go to the bank, to worship, to go to the movies, and yes, a bar, allows so many New Yorkers the opportunity to really have a full life. So for people who are stuck in their homes because they have no way of getting around, this really does open up their lives and their experiences. So thank you for sharing this with us. We're really excited about this possibility for so many New Yorkers, and we thank you very much for being here to spread the word.
Well, we're going to take questions, but we heard from Rosalia Watkins, who's a major part of our paratransit team, but not to be forgotten, the disability advocates who show up every day, Deborah Greif, and my Ocean Parkway neighbors in Brooklyn, representing so many people who have advocated, not always happy with the MTA, but I think we're doing a little bit better. So we're thrilled that we have your support every day. So with that, let me turn it over to Tim.
Start the questioning today with Evan Simcoe Bednarski of the New York Daily News. Evan.
Hi, guys. This is maybe a question for Rachel. I'm wondering, those statistics, the on-time performance, the ridership, how does that break down between, what I think of as sort of the traditional blue and whites and the e-hail and the car and taxi services?
Sure. So one of the things that we're particularly encouraged by in recent months and years is the improved performance of our broker program. Those are those taxi and for-hire vehicles. They're now carrying more than 2/3 of our trips, and their on-time performance is consistently at 94-95% in that 20-minute on-time pickup window. Our dedicated carriers continue to exceed 90%, pickups in the on-time window, and we're always working with them, right, trying to figure out how to navigate traffic and conditions in our city streets to keep improving those numbers.
And since we're talking about traffic and congestion, I'll just note that one of the potential benefits that was certainly in mind when we began developing this center, this facility, was that there would be an additional place for people who can qualify for the disability exemption from congestion pricing. We knew there were going to be people who might not be using Access-a-Ride who are going to want to qualify for the disability exemption, which is part of what the system, the tolling system, the MTA adopted before the governor put her pause on. But this will be there, as the congressman says, if and when congestion pricing is unpaused.
All right, over here at the Bowling Green Park Pavilion, we've got Samantha Liebman from New York One. Sam.
Good afternoon. So I have two questions. One is maybe one of the disability advocates or users of paratransit could talk about what having this new center means to the community in terms of convenience. And my second question is for Rachel about the e-hail pilot. Phase 2, how is it going? Are you considering making it permanent? If you can just talk about that as well.
So, can you hear me?
You could just turn the microphone towards you, Ms. Watkins, so we can hear you. Maybe Quamel can help with that.
Thank you.
Great.
Can you hear me now?
A little bit better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, in the world of service delivery, we're always talking about the need to meet people where they're at. So, in that concept, if there's a borough that does not have an assessment center, you're not able to meet people where they're at. People have to travel further for you. So, you're actually limiting the opportunity for many citizens with disabilities who really need the service and cannot travel long distances.
And on the question about the e-hail on-demand pilot, we're actually in phase 3 of the on-demand pilot, which is going very well. Customers are taking advantage of the increased per-trip subsidy and the monthly the monthly trip cap. We'll have more news on e-hail at a later date. We're still very early in this phase of the pilot, but to date, the transition has been very successful, and that's benefiting the customers that are in it. And it's our whole, population of over 180,000 paratransit customers, right, that will benefit from the things we're talking about here today.
How many people are enrolled in that right now?
The e-hail pilot has about 1,500 participants.
All right, any other on-topic questions? Channel 7, no? All right, off-topic, anybody? Evan Simcoe Bednarski waving again from the Daily News.
So congestion pricing has come up twice now. There has been Jenna, you and I spoke yesterday. There's an effort to both expand the system and maintain the system. This is maybe a question for you, Representative. Can you talk about that balance in a world where we don't really have anything definitive on whether or not we're going to get? I know we take the governor at her word, but we also have a balance sheet. How do you see getting from here to the next capital plan in terms of both expansion and state of good repair, given the money that we know we have at the moment?
So in fairness to the congressman, I mean the next capital plan is principally an Albany issue. This congressman and the New York bloc in Congress has been great supporters of bringing money to New York. I remind everybody in New York, especially those who have been the majority party for the last couple of years, New York is 45% of the national transit users in terms of number of customers. We still get 17% of the federal money. That's as if you said, hey, Florida, we know you got a lot of hurricanes, but you only get 10% of the hurricane relief money. It's not right, and it's time to address that. But that is something that we're looking to Congress and leaders like Dan Goldman to address. But the next capital program is squarely in the lap of Albany, governor and the legislature to address. And I think we've laid out the case for it very clearly. New York couldn't exist without great mass transit. It's 100 years old. It's falling apart. If we don't invest in it, it ain't going to be there. And we will be like New Jersey and Boston, which have seen their systems fall apart. And people are stopping using them because they can't trust that they're going to get to work or to school or whatever. That ain't going to happen here in New York if people like Dan Goldman and the leaders in Albany do the right thing, as I know they will. And that's where we are, is that we've laid out the case. $68 billion is really the least that reasonably could be asked for. It's less than the rate of inflation over our current program. It's way less than JP Morgan Chase said an organization of this age and complexity needs, and we got to have it.
Did you want to follow?
Yes, just respectfully, a lot of the large ticket items and some of the small ticket items are somewhat reliant, both in this capital plan and the coming capital plan, on federal matching funds, on federal grants. There's a lot of uncertainty as to what federal might mean in coming weeks. From your standpoint, will there be money on the table from the feds to help the MTA do what it does?
To put it simply, it depends on what happens on Tuesday. I think it's very clear that if Donald Trump wins, the money will not flow to New York. He has previously demonstrated that his policy decisions are based on the political leanings of the various states. He is not somebody who is interested in representing any states that do not vote for him. And I think we're going to be in a whole host of problems, not just in terms of transportation, in terms of the investment in renewable energy, the infrastructure beyond public transit is going to dry up for New York. And so that matters both in terms of who is president and who controls the majority in the House. So there's a tremendous amount at stake on Tuesday on any number of different levels and different areas. But New Yorkers should understand that if the Republicans maintain control of the House of Representatives, as they have had for the last 2 years, there's been next to no money that has been set aside or designated for New York, and that will continue. And it will hurt not only the MTA and our public transit system, it will hurt our bridges, our tunnels, our infrastructure, it will hurt our renewable energy, it will hurt our economy significantly.
All right, Evan, anything else? Anybody else? Fantastic. Thanks, everybody, for the dozens of newsrooms that are monitoring us online. We will, when we send out the release, we will be including a link to B-roll of a ribbon cutting for the new center that is about to happen down here in Lower Manhattan. Thanks, everybody.